Today we're going to be creating our very own geometric bat designs. So let's just take a few moments to talk about some geometry, some geometric shapes. What type of shapes do you think are geometric shapes? You're right. So now that we've talked about a little bit of geometric shapes like squares and circles and triangles, let's look at our primary colors. And in my slide here, I have the primary color song by OK Go. So we could take a moment to listen to that song and learn about our primary colors are red, yellow, and blue. Also in my Google slide, I have a read aloud called Bat Loves the Night. So we can learn a little bit more about bats and why we usually see them at night. For this project today, there's many different things that you can use. We're mainly going to be using markers with a paintbrush and some water. We're also going to be using scissors to cut different primary color construction papers. But obviously, if you have paints or other things around or near you and you want to do that on some other paper in order to create your bats and characters, you're more than welcome to do that too. So let's get started on our lesson. To begin our project today, we're going to be having a big, large 12 by 18 piece of black construction paper, and then I have already some pre-cut circles. If you want to do this at home, you can always just have a big square and cut off the corners to make a circle, or I just used a paper plate, one of those small dessert ones, or appetizer ones, and just trace that on the paper and cut it out that way. So the first thing we're going to do for this project is I want to glue this down so that way we have it somewhere on our project. So I was thinking I placed my moon right about here, kind of off center, not in the middle, but you can always have yours in the middle. You could even have it over on this side. It's entirely up to you. It could be lower or higher, whatever you feel. So I might make mine here. So we'll take out our glue stick and we're going to glue down our moon. So I'm just going to put not a lot of glue, but just enough to make sure it sticks. And flip it over and then just give it a nice little rub with some pressure and it should be right on there. Once you're done, close your glue stick, but keep it nearby because we're going to need that as well. So the first thing, there are a few options with creating the moon craters. In order to make it, you can either use a black crayon and just do some designs, or you can use a marker. And I was thinking for this part, we would use a marker today. So what I'm going to do is zoom in for us so you can see this a lot better. And using our marker, what we're going to do is you can make different size circles. So you could do a larger circle, you can do a smaller, you could do the letter C, and you can really just play with adding in all these different ones. You can close them, you don't have to close them. Make some larger ones, smaller ones. Just fill up as much as you can. Now, once you've designed it, the next thing I have are my water brushes. You can always just dip a brush in some water, or we can use my water brushes. How these work is you give it a gentle squeeze, and the water comes right out. You don't need to squeeze it the whole time, just when it feels dry. So all we're going to do is just wake up our lines here and give some nice, cool looking shadows. So I'm just waking up. We're not using a lot of water. Right now I haven't even given it another squeeze. And we're just going to wake up some of these lines and just give it that cool looking see-through texture, as you can see. Now if it starts feeling too dry, give it a gentle squeeze, just one, and then it will send the water down onto the brush, and that way we're not having a lot of drips on our paper. So now this gives it a really cool look of looking more three-dimensional, as you can see here. All right, so now that we've done that, the next step that we're going to do is we are going to add our own stars or shooting stars for the background. So what you can do is use two different options, and I'll zoom back out. You can use either a white color pencil, even a white crayon, and they do similar markings. You can use oil pastels as well. So as you can see, it shows up really well either or. It's just whatever one that you prefer and whichever one you feel like using. So because my white crayon's a little smaller for me, I'm going to use my color pencil. But use this time to fill up your whole paper with different stars. The next part is we're going to be building our bats. So I have three pieces of paper for you. They're 3 inches by 6 inches, and we're going to do our primary colors today. So in my Google slide, I have our Google Classroom part that I shared with us, and I have our primary colors song. So we know what our primary colors are. They're red, yellow, and blue. And that helps us know how to make all the other colors too. So what I want you to do with each of these is we're going to use our scissors, and we're going to cut off just a part of our colors. So cut off, a good third maybe of your rectangle here. Just the bottom third. And it does not need to be perfect looking. They could be different sizes because not all bats are the same size, right? So what we'll do is I'll put this on the side for a moment. And what we're going to do with these 3 pieces is I want you to cut off a part a little bit more. And now it looks like a square. So we're going to do that for each one of these. Just cut off a little bit more. So now your rectangle looks like a square. And then what we want to do is we want to place these somewhere around our moon and in the sky. So you can have these anywhere you want, but we want to have them nicely distanced from one another. So I might have mine a little bit more like this. You can overlap if you want, but I figured I'm just going to have mine played this way. So right now I want you to glue on these 3 pieces. Now what we're going to do is we're going to use our longer rectangle pieces that we have, and I want you to cut down the middle. So we're going to just cut down the middle all the way to the other side, and it makes these 2 longer triangle pieces. So if it's easier, you can hold on to both pieces of paper and cut at the same time. Or you can try just cutting with the one at a time. Once you're done with these, what you're going to do is find your bat colors. And we're going to glue these onto our bat bodies. So before we glue them down, think about how do you want your bat wings to look. Do you want them to be going up a little bit more? Don't worry if they go off the paper. I think it gives it a little bit more character that way too. So think about how do you want your bats to be. Maybe this bat's wings, like one is up here like this and one's a little bit lower. It's up to you. So whatever you're thinking. I might have mine going a little bit differently. And you can see I'm just playing with what do I want. Maybe I'll do it just like that. So once you have this part done, what I want you to do is then glue these down first. Okay? So we're going to glue down our wings, and then we'll glue down ears next. So let's glue our wings on first. Now that I have my bat wings on, the next thing I'm going to do is take my other pieces here. And what I want to do with these is turn these into my ears. So I'm going to be just taking them and I'm going to turn these into my ears as well. So what I'm going to do is just put these, together. I'm going to do one nice easy cut. You can also do it separately too. And I'm just going to cut it in half. So you can see I'm cutting it, and now I cut it in half. I'm going to take my extra scraps, I'm going to put them on the side. And what I'm going to do now is just like we did with our wings, I'm just going to cut down the middle. And now I have all my little pieces for the ears. So think about how do you want your bat ears to be? You can have them be like this. So they're that way. You could have your bat ears facing the same direction. So maybe your bat is looking a different way. Like that. Oops. Nope. Miss Holland. Silly Miss Holland. You can do it the same way, so you place them on that way. You can even have your bat just having the ears a little differently, where they're on this way. So it's up to you. I want you to take this moment now to glue your ears down. Okay, now that we're done with this part, I have a handout that we can use that has different eyes on it. So we can draw these different faces. As you can see, they're really cool. And you can have like different, think of mouths, you know, the teeth. You have the different eyebrows and facial expressions. So why don't you can either draw with a black crayon. I also have the eye stickers if you want to do that too. And we can stick those on here or cut out the eyes. It's up to you on whatever you're thinking of doing. So if you have any extra white scraps or some of these extra ones that you have here, you can draw eyes on them and you can glue them on that way too. It's up to you. So I think I'm going to use my stickers right now, and then I might draw on a couple as well. So I'm going to look at my paper example, and I'm just going to draw on a couple different eyes. I'm going to think about, what do I want? And I'm going to create my very own version. So I'm going to cut those out. Now another way, as I'm cutting these out, if you really wanted to, you can always fold a piece of paper and have your different circles and cut it and get 4 of them that way. But right now I was just playing with enjoying having different sizes for their eyes and not having them exact, because I think that gives it just a little bit more of a fun, creative twist than we normally have. See, this eyeball is a little bit bigger than that one. These are a little different, and I just think that that's fun. So I'm going to glue these eyes on. Slide this back down so you can see. And now that we're done with the glue stick, let's put our glue stick back and nicely away. And then we're going to use either a black crayon or a marker, it's up to you. And we can add on those fun facial expressions. So we'll use that and then add on some lines. So think about what emotions do you want your bats to have. So maybe for me, I'm going to add on these cool eyebrows. And then I'm going to give them kind of a silly little face. This one. And then now, once we have our bats done, what we're going to do is just add in some lines. So we're going to do 3 angled lines from the top up here down, And again, you can use a marker or you can use a black crayon. So from the top, we're just going to draw one line down, and 2, and 3. So try to do that from the top of each one of yours as well, all the way on all of them, as best as you can. And there you go. Once you're done, just take a picture of it. Make sure you use a pencil or your white crayon and write your name on the back. And that way we know whose is whose.